Welcome, everyone, to the fifth episode of Think Outside Yourself. I'm your host, Brendan Schlucci, and with me is my good friend, the Juco King himself, Eric Sim. Welcome, Eric.
Hey man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. So, a little intro to Eric. He was born in South Korea. He is known as the King of Juco because he's been at every level, but really stresses how important junior colleges are for guys. He's now a YouTube and baseball content creator, and he was a former pitcher and catcher in minor league baseball.
Right.
I also want to give you a shout out. You're a recent father, so that's awesome to hear, man. I want to
Appreciate it.
dive in a little bit on that. So how has having a child changed your life so far?
I mean, it has changed everything that,
Yeah.
I'm about really, and my life in general has totally changed. But it's a blessing, man, and so I mean, Sophia has been nothing but amazing, and she's crazy sometimes, but sometimes you fucking deal with that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what babies do. So, but things are great though. She's healthy. That's all I'm thankful for. And then, yeah, fuck. I mean, life is good.
That's awesome to hear, man. And hey, I saw a video recently of you feeding her steak. So I got to ask, is that a little force feed or does she actually enjoy it?
Dude, she likes steaks, man. I'm telling you. Like, so we had a taco day or whatever too. We give her a little piece of like the meat. She fucking
Yeah,
loved it. And then like
that's
I give her
awesome.
like a little piece of steak, and she like it. And then whenever we give her like food, sometimes she won't like it. So we give her like fruits and shit like that, and she's like, eh. We give her blackberries one time, and she's like. She made this face. She's like, "Don't ever give me that shit again." You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we're like, okay, like it's your world, we're living in it. And then fucking, I give her a piece of steak. She literally holds it, takes a bite, and she's like, "This is it." And she starts going crazy. That's when I started filming. It's like when she started going, I'm like, "This
Yeah.
is like you can't teach that." She's just born
Mhm.
with it. It's
Like
amazing.
father, like daughter.
That's right. That's right.
100%. So I'm actually curious about that. So are you going to encourage your daughter to play baseball, or are you just going to let her kind of do what
Yeah,
she?
dude. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything. She's gonna do whatever the fuck she wants to do. Really, if she wants to play soccer, we'll play soccer. But obviously, she gotta be around baseball and softball, right? That's what I'm doing all the
Yeah,
time. So it
yeah.
just makes sense. I'd assume like she's gonna like it because I
Hmm.
think I will never push that, and my parents never pushed baseball on myself either,
Hmm.
which is why like but I enjoyed playing, so that's why I
Yeah,
kept on
of
playing.
course.
It was my will instead of being told to do it. How some kids these days, their like parents are crazy. They put them all these fucking showcases, all these year-round baseball, and the kids just get burnt the fuck out. And that's the last thing I want to do. And I've never been that. My parents never did that to me, so that's not something I'll do to my kid. But I mean, obviously, my life is evolved around baseball, so hopefully she likes it. If not, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to look at it. Like just letting your child like pave their own way.
Yep.
I was just helping my buddy with a perfect game tournament, and you know how some of the parents can be over there. Like
Right.
this one parent came up to me and started yelling at me
Yeah.
because the
It's
umps weren't there on time and that
right.
her
Right.
kid
Right.
wasn't fair. When her kid out there was threw like 28 balls out of 30
Yeah,
pitches.
just
Like, I'm like, that's not the umpire's fault.
right. Again, I think it's too much sometimes, right? I'm not saying every parents are like that. Most parents, I think, are good. It's just some are just way too involved, and I think less you can get involved in your kid's way, better it is for the kids, right? I mean, for me, again, I've seen my friends' parents that were just way too fucking much. I'm like, what the fuck are you
Yeah.
doing? And the kids all got burnt the fuck out. They don't like it. They hate
Yeah.
it, right? Because it's just too much pressure or too much whatever, and it's just not a good atmosphere for the kid. And if you want what's best for your kid, let them do that, man. And honestly, if Sophia's like, hey, like Dad, I don't like baseball, like I don't like softball, I want to do something else, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it, but find whatever you enjoy doing, and we'll go full send. Just that's all I ask is whatever you choose to do, go full send, and it's something that you truly enjoy doing. Just like me right now, I'm 33. Fucking, I
Yeah.
have no desire to playing baseball again. I'm done playing it. I am done playing. Like
Hmm.
for like I'm not gonna play competitive baseball again. And that's not something I want to do. But I enjoy training. I enjoy training for baseball. I love parts of baseball that are just like it's gonna be with me forever. So that's why I still do the shit I do. Like and I have fun, I have a lot of fun doing it. So I think that's all that matters. At the end of the day, find joy in it, and whatever. If you do find joy in it, go full send and see what you can do with it.
That's awesome, man. You couldn't have put it better there. And I wanted to add on that because one thing I really admire about all the content you put out there and stuff like that is that you're yourself. I was talking to Travis Fitta the other day, the guy from Ascent.
Yep.
We were talking about you because I was excited. I was telling him how I was having you on the podcast, and he was saying how we agreed how you have this like unapologetic authenticity. It's like you're you, and like when it comes to like your content, anything you put out there, you're always yourself. A lot of people, when it comes to social media these days, they fake it and all that
Right,
stuff.
right, right.
I wanted to ask you about that. Like, how and when did you develop that? Or sorry, develop that? Attitude of like, I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. I'm gonna just do me.
Right. And like, I think that's important because for me, I don't have to change who I am. I don't
Yeah,
have to change who I am off the camera, in front of a camera. I don't give a fuck. I am who I am. Even like whatever. I show up every single day here. Like I'm the way I am. Like I'm not gonna change who I am. Now, I'm not saying every parts of me people are gonna like, right? And that's fine because I don't give a fuck. I just at the end of the day, like you gotta you gotta do you. You gotta do you. And for me, I learned that the hard way in pro ball, and in JUCO and all these like tough places that I have to go. I'm like, I just had to learn how to be DGAF, right? Don't give a fuck attitude. Have that chip on your shoulder. If you don't like me, fuck you. Like, so for me right now, I put up a lot of content, right? And of course, not everyone likes my content because I'm cussing or being who I am,
yeah,
whatever the fuck they don't like me for. But I just don't give a fuck because at the end of the day, I do me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna change who I am for you. I'm not gonna change who I am just for other content. I've had plenty of content like, oh, if you cuss less or whatever, you get more followers. I don't give a fuck. I don't do this shit for followers. I just don't give a fuck.
that's all that matters.
Yeah, dude. Of course, I'm getting bigger, and I appreciate it and I like it. But even if dude, I was doing the same shit when I had 1,000 followers, and now like whatever 100,000, whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm not gonna change your ham just because I have more following. Like fuck you. Like this got me here, and I'm gonna do me. Because I trust in what I do, and I fucking I like being me, not fucking somebody else. Now, I'm not saying something anything bad about other creators that are kind of not doing something else. They have like a different persona they put on, a kind of an act or whatever
Yeah.
they do on the social media. That's fine. If you want to do that, and if you think that works for you, that's fine. If that's how you want to grow your brand, that's fine. But that's not how I want to do it. I'm not gonna be someone I'm not to grow my shit for what? You're gonna grow what? Like 200,000, 300,000 followers, whatever. For what? Like that's not you. So that's the way I see it. That's why I'm the DGF the way I am. And I honestly, if people don't like me, fuck you. I don't give a shit.
That's awesome, man. And no, I agree. And that was the same like reason that I like when I the same mentality I had when starting this podcast. It was like I don't want dudes that are just good at like I know some baseball players that are famous and stuff like
Right,
that.
right, right.
I don't want guys like that on here. I want people that are authentic. I want my friends, family, guys like you that I know will bring something that is like absolutely true
Right.
to like the content that I put out.
Yeah,
And
and then
it's
again, like, I think a lot of people they can do that if they want to. That's fine. I'm not saying anything
Mhm.
that's wrong, but I mean, I just don't see any point in that. And
Yeah.
some people just don't need to do that. Like I'll work with
Mhm.
Trevor. Trevor doesn't do that. He's just like the way he fucking is in
Yeah.
front or outside of camera, and that's
Mhm.
fucking I do the same way. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's fake, but I mean, it's not something I strive to be. And if people know me for who I am, Eric, Sam, and all the content, right? That's
Mhm.
exactly who I am off the camera. When you meet me, like I'm gonna be the same way. I mean, I've met you before too. I'm the same way, like fucking in front of camera, outside of camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Absolutely. And that's another thing I was curious about was you said you like kind of learned that from baseball. How important do you think it is to be like your true self when it comes to baseball or any sport or like something that you're passionate about?
I mean, that's everything, that's your core, right? So if you start doubting your core, that's when you're going to have issues with. Just like my Pro Bowl career, I'm not saying I had a good career. I'm not saying I was going to make it or whatever. But that's when you start listening to a lot of people you've been through it. It's just you go, there's a bunch of
Mhm.
people, a bunch of, coaches. I mean, you only show up to spring training, there are like 40 coaches, right? 30 coaches. They're all
Yeah.
telling you different things. And you're trying to like make everyone happy, and
Yeah.
that fucked me up. Exactly. You're trying to fit in and they have this mold or whatever, but like within the mold, they're not even on the same page because not all coaches are going to be on the same, talk about the same shit. That's the biggest issue I had with the Giants is like, I'll talk to one coach and literally the next coach I'm talking to 5 minutes later tell me a whole nother shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I got fucked up in my head. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I lost myself. And that's why the attitude of DGAF is something I'm preaching a lot because if you go away from who you are, like of course you can work on it to better yourself and you can do other shit or
Mhm.
whatever, but you can't lose who you are and you're just gonna fucking fail. And when you fail, you're gonna fail miserably and it's gonna fucking suck. And that
And
made
then
me
yeah,
tougher to be
when you
honest, but that's fine, you know?
yeah, and when you fail, you're going to start looking for like more answers, and it's
Exactly.
going to take you farther away from who you are.
Dig
When in
deeper holes,
reality,
man. Yep.
yeah, you just got to be who you are. You're not going to be successful unless you're your most true self.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and so you touched on your baseball career a little bit. If you don't mind, would you mind giving like the audience a little bit of a rundown on like the different levels you've experienced? I mean, you've basically seen it all, man. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I've definitely seen it all. So I grew up in South Korea. I was born there. Played baseball there until I was about 13 years old. Playing baseball in Korea is like it's kind of hard to explain. Like you just do baseball. You do baseball every single day for 8, 10 hours a day when you're fucking 8, 9, 10 years old, and you just go full send on that. Like there's no ifs or buts. If you don't make it as a baseball player, you're just done. But that's how the competition is set up over there. Coaches will beat the fuck out of you if they want to. Like it was just a crazy culture that I grew up in. And then after that, I moved to Canada because my mom was like, "Hey, like I cannot let you, like I can't have you doing this. Just to play baseball in Korea for every single day. You don't even go to school." And you just fuck, you're a dumbass. So if you play sports in Korea, you're a dumbass because you don't go to fucking school. You just play that
Really,
sport all day, every single day. You don't.
that's
When
incredible.
I was playing baseball in Korea, we'll show up. I'm a 10-year-old kid, like 10,
Yeah.
11, like elementary
Mhm.
school type shit. I'll go to school, do an attendance check, and I literally from then on I go to straight to the locker room and we fucking practice all fucking day. It's just the
Really.
most insane shit I've ever been with. Now, to me at the time was a norm, right? So
Mhm.
that's what
Yeah.
everyone else is doing. So I'm like, I don't know what's better, you know, like that's what it
Mhm.
was. And
It's
then
normal.
like fucking like coaches were like gods, so you follow everything they say.
Mhm.
It's just a crazy culture that I dealt with. And I moved to Canada when I was 13, and it was like practice were like an hour long practice, right? And just like coaches would give me high fives. I didn't speak any English, right? So I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's like a biggest change for me, right? Because I went from Korea, like playing baseball 8, 10 hours a day, and
Mhm.
coaches are motherfucking you, and I'm getting beat the fuck up literally by a fungo. Coach will like put you in a push up position, and they'll beat you up. Like that's what it was. Like
No way.
if you make a mistake in the infield, outfield, or whatever, like he'll call you in, you sprint from your position, go to the plate, and you get in the push up position. He'll beat the fuck out of you with a fungo. You run back to your position, and we'll
Oh
before the practice starts, we'll run like 30 laps, and I was fucking little chubby kid, right, out of shape, and I'm like getting behind. I remember my coach chased me down with the fungo, and I'm like crying, and we're warming up, and I
oh
remember,
my god.
and that's a shit I dealt with, right?
Yeah.
And to Canada, it's like, what the fuck is happening? You know, it's like
Mhm.
coaches are giving me high fives, and it's an hour long practice. If you can't even call that a practice, they fuck around, just like laugh
Yeah.
and did nothing. I'm like, this is to me, it was insane. Like
Mhm.
I loved it, of
Complete
course, but
one.
it was just like what the fuck, you know? Like it's just different ball game. And then
Yeah.
I went to high school in Canada. I finished high school in Canada, and then I ended up going to a junior college in Kansas for 2 years, and that really changed my perspectives in baseball. Because
Mhm.
I think I was getting a little bit soft in Canada because like the culture is like, oh, you just have fun or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I went to JUCO in Kansas, it's like, fuck, all right, it's time to go again. You know,
Yeah.
it's go
Serious.
time again, and it's time to get serious. Your coach is gonna be on you, and then you're doing crazy shit, you know, like 5 a.m. waits to fucking school and then fucking practice or whatever the fuck it is, right? So,
Yeah.
but that actually made me stronger. And because I went from high school, I had zero offers out of high school. The only school that offered me was the JUCO I signed with his Kobe Community College in Kansas. And after that, when I got done with the sophomore showcase at a JUCO, I had about 60 offers, 60 plus offers, because I balled out in the fucking sophomore showcase. I was like the best catcher there or whatever.
Mhm.
So I got tons of offers and shit like that. And then I ended up choosing to go to University of South Florida, which is in Tampa, Florida. I went there for a
If
year.
you don't mind, why did you choose South Florida?
Uh, as soon as I went there, I'm like, this is it. It was in Tampa, Florida. It's like the
Yeah.
nicest city I've been to, you know, in my life. I
Mhm.
just went there. It just the whole like the team, the vibes. The facilities are fucking nice, and I
Yeah.
remember I I'll never forget this. I remember in JUCO it was like a shitty ass dorm, right? Piece of shit
Mhm.
dorm, like
Yeah.
cockroaches running around and shit. I'm like fuck. Literally the next day I take the flight to go because I went on a visit to South Florida, And then
Mm-hmm.
I went. Remember stepping on the campus and just like we went to the players because one of the players was like taking me around and shit like that to show me
Okay.
around.
Yeah.
And then the apartment complex was brand new, and he's like, yeah, this is where we live. And I was walking, I'm like, there's like pool and just like
Yeah.
girls in
Beautiful.
bikinis and fucking like beautiful weather, It's just like the
Yeah.
school campus is beautiful. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
this is it, I have to like. So I
Mm-hmm.
literally signed that day to go there. They took me out to nice dinner. It was big league experience, man. And
Mm-hmm.
when I did that, I knew right away. I went on to three visits. I went to a couple schools. I went to one in Louisiana Monroe. I went to for a visit,
Okay.
and also went to a visit to Texas Pan American. I think it was like an NAI at the time,
Mm-hmm.
turning D2 or something like that. And then in the USF, I'm like, this is it. I signed right there. And then I was at a USF for a year, and I got drafted as a junior, and I signed as a junior by the San Francisco Giants. And I played 6 years in the minor leagues with the Giants, 5 as a catcher, 1 as a pitcher. And then right after that, I got played a little bit of indie ball as a pitcher, and I hung my cleats up. So that's my whole career, which again, it's pretty crazy. I've been to all these different countries and all
Yeah,
that,
that's
but I
awesome,
mean,
man. I feel like
it's an amazing experience.
because yeah, no, one of the questions I was going to ask is like how the game is different in all the places you've played, and you hit it right on the nose. So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
another question I really want to ask were like, what were the biggest challenges transitioning from like catcher to pitcher?
A lot actually, because everyone I remember my pitching coach and Lowe is like, yeah, it should be an easier transition because you know how to you've caught all your life, you know how to call the games and everything like that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, but when you get on that fucking mound, man, you start thinking like a pitcher. You don't think like a catcher, you think like a pitcher. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it wasn't easy. And the whole process, of course, I wasn't throwing that hard in the beginning. So I had to really like cut loose on the training. I did the whole
Hmm.
drive line stuff and got my velo up and stuff like that. So yeah, when I first turned into a pitcher, I was 88, 90, touching
Hmm.
about 92. I think 92 for me. It was at the max. And then I did a whole drive line because I knew right because I've caught all my life, right? So I
Yeah.
caught 5 years. I've been pro ball too. I was 24, 25 years old. I knew throwing 88, 90 doesn't work. It's just not how it works as a right-handed reliever. You know how a pro ball is. Right-handed
Yeah.
reliever. I
These
mean, you
dudes are
gotta
coming
you
in
gotta
throwing
you
gas.
you gotta pump 97 plus. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So and I knew that luckily because I've caught in pro ball. So I'm like, okay, as soon as I got done with my season or whatever or my instructs after the season, I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. So I started training at drive line. Train my fucking dick off. That's probably one of the hardest I've trained because facility it was in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I had to drive like 3 hours each way. So I remember like leaving at like 8 in the morning, get
Wow.
caught in the border for like an hour or two, and then drive 3 hours. So it'll take me about 5 hours just to get to the facility, fucking
Every
do
day.
all my training. I did that. I couldn't do it every day because I did
Okay.
that. I think the max I did I was like 3 times a week, but
Okay.
mostly like once a week, and then I'll train at home because I had to
Yeah.
give lessons to make money because I was broke as
Hmm.
fuck. So I was giving lessons in the off season back in Canada where I was living, and then I'll drive like once a week or whatever to go to drive line, which took again total of just travel alone for the day. Sometimes it was like 8, 9 hours, and then I still did that because I knew that was gonna make me better.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting better. I ended up throwing harder. And when I showed up to spring training, I was 93, 94, touching 5. And yeah, so Vila was good. I put up decent numbers too, but again, it just wasn't enough. I got released the following year because I mean, again, right-handed reliever that's throwing 92, 94. It just simply just not enough. I had to be throwing 97 plus with because I didn't have much of a breaking ball either. So I put up
Gotcha.
like a 2.5 ERA in like short season, but I mean, again, it's short season, so it's not really something that the numbers really give a fuck about, So,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's fine. I knew the reason I was released, and which is why I'm still a big uh, um, preacher for velocity. Because if it didn't fucking matter, then all you fucking college jabronis throwing 86, painting corners, you'll be in the fucking big leagues, but you're not for a fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, I've been through a lot, but I'm thankful because I've got to experience both side of things. And to
Yeah.
this day, right now, I'm training both pitching and hitting, and
Mhm.
it's fun. It's fun.
So, if during your time in the minors, which do you think you enjoyed more, hitting or pitching?
Neither, neither, because honestly, man, Pro Bowl I was pretty miserable. I'm not gonna lie. First couple
Okay.
of years was like, of course, it's different. You're like, oh, Pro Bowl and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But as soon as you get it, step foot in there, you realize the reality, right? The reality hits you pretty hard. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
It's not what I thought Pro Bowl was gonna be. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
no, it's not.
I thought Pro Bowl was gonna be like because I played Division One. I'm like I thought it was gonna like Pro Bowl Division One and like you know that type of shit.
Yeah,
But as soon as I went there, I'm like this shit's like JUCO shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah.
I was
Oh man.
we're getting paid zero money. I remember like I'm making about 350, $400 a paycheck. Only so one year I remember making like $2,700 for the entire year because I got started getting extended. So I'm like, I mean, if you make less than $3,000 a year, I mean, you're fucked. You know, it doesn't matter what they pay for or whatever they pay for whatever hotel or whatever, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't enough. And it just like I'm like, dude, like I gotta like in the off season. I remember my first off season. I'm like, holy shit, like because I signed for 15,000, which isn't that much after taxes. I ended up being about 12K, and I ran through that shit pretty quick. You know, in the off season, you know, for living, you know, food, like
That's money
supplements.
I'm
I
guessing with
remember
that.
supplements. Yeah, I remember supplements. I'm spending like $300 a month. You know, just on protein, creatine, or whatever the fuck else. I mean, there's like whatever, you know, like BCAs or whatever. You know, they add up. And I remember I
Yeah.
was like, dude, like I can't just like live on my signing bonus. That's gonna be gone soon. So I started working right away in the off season, every off season actually, and a couple off seasons I've had double jobs. So I was bartending and also giving lessons. So yeah, I've been through some crazy schedules in pro ball, and yeah, man. Honestly though, all that fucking experience made me stronger. But pro ball just wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. So that's why I try to be as transparent as possible to all the kids that are trying to be professional baseball players. Of course, it's a way better. I mean, it's definitely getting better now because of all the changes and stuff like that. But it's just still not enough, and that's why I'm still preaching for these guys. So
Yeah. And honestly, I think it's kind of important too to go through that because I think it makes you appreciate being in the big leagues so more. Like if you're
absolutely
in the minors and you're getting treated like a big leaguer, basically, there's no real point
right.
to make the big leagues. There's not as much incentive.
Yep.
But
Yep.
no, I totally get what you're saying. Like the MILB advocates just announced that we're getting paid in for spring training. And
Nice.
people are acting like we just hit the jackpot.
Dude, hell yeah. I mean, that's huge though, right? Because I mean, for me,
Absolutely, man.
I went through spring training without pay. I remember going through instructs without pay. I remember going
Yeah.
through extended without pay. And with, I mean, dude, I mean, you can't really live your life like that, you know? No, you can't do anything. So you basically just play baseball and barely make it. And off seasons, I remember everyone had a job. If you're not a top 10 rounder, you're working in the off season, you know?
Yeah.
So
100%. All right, so back to pitchers a little bit as well. So give me the nastiest pitcher you faced and the nastiest pitcher you've caught.
fucking nastiest pitchers I faced will be a couple of them. I faced Ken Giles in Double A.
Oh my gosh, that
God, dude,
Jeez.
that dude threw way harder in the minors. He
Yeah.
kind of toned it down, I think, later in the later years of his career in the big leagues. He was throwing like 95, 97. But when I faced him in Double A, he was hitting 100 to 102. And it was in Reading, Philadelphia in April. Where it was April in Philadelphia, it was fucking cold, man. I mean, so dude, it's raining, miserable, it's cold. I remember I show up. That was my first Double A game, and we're playing against Reading because I was playing for Richmond, Flying Squirrels for the Giants. We show up, and I'm like, they're like, hey, like you ready to play? Because their catcher just got hurt. That's why I got moved up.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, so like let's go. I literally just got off the fucking plane or whatever. I'm like, let's go play, let's do it. And I'm motherfucking facing Ken Giles. He comes in the close or whatever. I'm like, oh my fuck! He was throwing 100 to 102 in a 40-degree weather in Reading, Philadelphia. If it was sunny, he would have thrown like 103, 104. Like it was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. His slider was 92. I'm like, this shit's ridiculous. But the other one is also Zach Wheeler. I got to play with him actually. But you know, in spring training and instructs, you get to scrimmage, right? So we're scrimmaging. I remember facing Wheeler. He was sitting like 97 to 100 with of course nasty shit like the way he does now, you know. So he was one of the nastiest one. But luck, like I don't know how, but I almost like closed my eyes and I hit a liner. I had a line drive. I had a liner off of Zach Wheeler's like 98, 99. Like I just hit a seed to the left field. Got caught, but I'm like, I'm happy with that. You know, so I'm like, it's Zach Wheeler. He was number one prospect. Fine. Exactly. He's number one prospect for the Giants. I'm like, I'll take that all day, you know? So, yeah.
100%, man. That's something I've kind of learned in pro ball a little bit is like some hitters will be like, if you go say like 1 for 4, but 2 of those 3 outs are hard hit balls, that's a good day for you because
that's a good day.
ball well.
Yep. And again, especially in Pro Bowl, when you're facing guys that are so fucking nasty, you take those. You take
Mm-hmm.
those. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so for kids that are listening that are kind of approaching or aspire to have that professional career like you've had that I have, what is some advice that you would give them?
I think the biggest thing is don't try to listen to too many people. Find what works for you, and of course, you gotta need to learn what works for you first, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna take time. That comes with time. A lot of people want quick answers, like, oh, like I want to hit like this. That doesn't work like that. That's why pro hitters still to this day are like finding new approach, new swing, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But develop that for yourself and find a routine that works for you. And when you get that going, uh, uh, don't try to change yourself. Don't try to be who you're not, right? So everyone's like, oh, try to hit like this person, that person, try to hit like Mike Trout or whatever. You're not fucking Mike Trout. And Mike Trout doesn't. And for real though, Mike Trout doesn't hit.
Yeah.
Who does Mike Trout hit like? Nobody. Mike Trout hits like himself. Barry
Mm-hmm.
Bonds hit like himself, right? Those guys hit the way they do because it worked for them. Not like, oh, I'm gonna start hitting like Gary Sheffield, and they didn't do that. They knew
Yeah.
what they were, and then Barry Bonds like, this is what works for me, and this is what I'm gonna do. And no one can tell me what to do because I'm gonna be fucking good at doing this. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Mike Trout. Same thing with a lot of these top hitters, Judge, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just find out what works for you, find who you are, and just hone that motherfucker like it's everything you got. So
That's beautifully said. Thank you. So let's get into the MLB a little bit. I know we got the World Series going on right now.
yep.
So when it comes to players in today's day and age, we have a lot of excitement going on. Who are some of the players that you love to watch, both from pitching and hitting?
I mean, Shohei Ohtani is right now my favorite, of course, because I'm still training again. I'm still training to pitch and hit. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm a player or anything like that, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
still training. I'm still training in a pretty high intent, and I still throw. I think last velo day I got to like 92 or whatever. So I'm still throwing decently firm, right?
Yeah.
And I hit the ball. I can hit the ball pretty far. I've recently got to 108, like in live at bats. I mean, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it just what he's doing is like out of the world, man. Like the
Insane.
motherfucker's throwing 100 on the mound, 101, topping out 101 on the
Yeah.
mound with nasty shit, and then he's hitting the ball fucking 115 to an upper deck. It
Mm-hmm.
just and not even just those numbers. Like
Yeah.
he's doing that at a big league level, facing
I
big
know.
league pitchers, big league hitters. And that's what for me, like I feel like people not many people can do of course what he does, but like maybe a couple people in the world could train to have those numbers. But
Mm-hmm.
even if they did that, they won't be able to produce the numbers that he produced in the big leagues because you just gotta be good at baseball to do that.
Yeah.
Not just swinging hard, not just throwing hard. Does that make sense? Like
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
there's more to that. He's a complete baseball player that throws absolute field with nasty shit and hits
Yeah.
absolute tanks. I mean, that is the dream
That's
for any baseball
that's the
player
dream.
growing up. That is literally the dream, and he's doing it. And he's the only one in the world to do that right now as we speak. And that's why, I mean, for me, like I just watch him, I'm like, dude, you're incredible, and you're more than incredible. I think what he's doing is, of course, people still talk about him a lot. And last year he won whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think still is not underrated. Underrated of what he's doing. People just don't appreciate enough what he's actually doing on a day in day out basis.
No, it's absolutely insane. And I think what people like also don't realize, it's like it's not like he's just surviving up there. Like
No,
he is
he's
dominating.
he's yeah, and on both sides of the field, right? And that
He's putting up MVP and Cy Young award numbers as one guy. Like it's just incredible.
and
I don't
at
think
a
people
big league level, dude, he's facing hitters like Judge. He's facing and as a hitter, he's facing pitchers like DeGrom. Like these are top of the top, and he's
yeah.
playing incredible. He's like top whatever. Like and to be able to do that, that's just not no. Literally, okay. Let me just end this. Literally, no one in the world can do what he's doing except him.
Yeah.
That's
it.
What more do you want me to say? What more do you want me to say?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I also, when it comes to teams, I saw. So I'm from Philadelphia. Grew up a Phillies fan. It's awesome to see them. I saw you made a video saying
Hell
"Go
yeah.
Phils" because I honestly, in my personal opinion, I think this is one of the grittiest teams I've ever seen play baseball.
Dude, look,
And
they're a
it
bunch of
is-
scumbags. They're a bunch of scumbags, and I fucking love that. But dude, I'm telling you, I played against a lot of good teams too in pro ball, college, shit like that. But the the team that has the most scumbags that finds a way,
Hmm.
those teams always win, man. It's not a matter of finding all these all stars or whatever. It's not. It's a team game, right? And dude, dude, they got fucking dogs. I mean, look at Bryce Harper leading the team and fucking Hoskins, fucking Real Mood. Like all these guys are just they just know how to ball, right? And they're a fun team to
It's really
watch.
awesome. Yeah, too, because like I feel like they're like also like a family. And that's the
Exactly,
thing. That's another
exactly.
thing that kind of gets lost in the minors because you're all like
Right. Everyone's
it's
moving up and down too
understandable.
much.
Yeah,
Right.
everybody's up and down. You're kind of more worried about like, hey, I want to get to
Yourself.
the majors. Yeah,
Absolutely. Right.
and that's
Right.
totally understandable. But you kind of lose that camaraderie a little bit until
Absolutely.
you make it to the
I've
big
I've had way more of that in college than in pro ball.
100%. Yeah,
I mean, when I was in JUCO, I mean, we're like, these are my ride or dies, right?
yeah,
Even when I was
yeah.
at USF, these are like, I'm here with you guys. Like, wait, we got a year, and these are my ride or dies. In pro
Hmm.
ball, it's like every year is different. Each team you
Yeah.
go to, you're like, you meet new guys, and they don't really. I mean, of course, you want to win. Winning is always fun, but
Hmm.
it's not really embedded to like, hey, like you need to win. Like in
Yeah.
college, is like you fuckers win or I'm gonna fuck you up like the coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they do. But like in Pro Bowl, you don't have that.
100%, dude.
But in the big leagues, even big leagues, I think it's hard to find teams like that. And the Phillies got that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It seems like it's a weird analogy, but it seems like Bryce and like Nick Castellanos are like the older brother scumbags.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of like
yeah.
teaching the young guys like
Hell
Stott
yeah,
and Mom
yeah,
like their ways, and it's just all coming together. It's so fun to watch,
dude.
man.
I mean, the whole lineup, man, it's fucking just dangerous. Every one of them can hit a tank any moment. It's just
Yeah,
incredible. And then they got young. That's the thing. It's a balance too, right? They got some older guys. I mean, Bryce Harper, you couldn't say old, but I mean, they got some older guys, but they got real young studs like Alec, and all these guys, like younger
yeah,
guys, right? And it's a really good balance of a lineup, and they're just dangerous team, man. And it's really fun to watch.
yeah. And for all you dummies out there that think throwing hard isn't important, look at every single guy that's coming out of the pen in the World
Yep,
Series.
they're all gonna be 97 plus. All right,
Yeah,
let me.
a hundred
Yeah,
percent.
I think I tweeted it out actually. One game, I think it was a game two of the World Series or whatever.
Hmm.
I remember I tweeted out like the relievers velos or whatever.
Yeah,
Literally, all of them were 98 plus. Like,
yeah.
so everyone literally came in like 98, 99, 98, 99. I'm like, are you guys not watching this? Like, if they could throw 86 and get away with it, they would. But they
Oh
know they
yeah.
can't. That's why they throw fucking 98. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah. So coming from one reliever to another, we obviously have been put in big situations
Yep.
and like towards the end of the game, and we like to let that emotion out. And and there's a big kind of conflict between letting your emotion out and kind of acting like you've done it before. That kind of stuff. What do you think about that in today's day and age?
Be you. I don't think you should think about that. I'm a very fiery guy. I've been
Yeah.
trained with a lot of energy. When you see me on a velo day here, I'm yelling and screaming, and that's why I work out. That's why I throw. If I'm doing like a swinging set, like a exit velo day, I'm full sending, and that's the way I am. When I'm competing, I'm even that times 10.
Yeah.
So I'm loud. I get in your face, and I want to fucking compete. I want to win, right? So if that works for you, do it. I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck. Like people, some people may not like that, and I don't give a fuck. I'm the way I am. I'm not gonna change how I compete just for your pleasure. Like I don't give a fuck about you. Like if I'm competing, I'm gonna kill you. Like if we were in a cage, like I will kill you. Like that's the way I feel it when I'm in the like seriously the way I train and stuff. Like I'm
Mhm.
like if you and I get in an arena, like I'm gonna win. I'm gonna like destroy you. I'm gonna
Mhm.
fuck you up, whatever. And for me to do that the best way possible, it's with all my emotions, energy, intensity,
Yeah.
everything, right? And if you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. So
Mhm.
and some people like act like you've done it before. That's fine. If that works for you, do it. Mike Trout doesn't really celebrate all that much. It worked for him.
Yeah.
Keep doing
Mhm.
that. But many guys in the big league, and Bryce Harper, if you watch him in a tank, I mean, he's like, let's fuck, like he's getting
Yeah.
fired the fuck up, and that's why he
Mhm.
likes to play. Bryce Harper plays with a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, and that makes him good. That makes him good. So he's not gonna go away from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So find what
Absolutely.
works for you and just do it.
Yeah, no, I mean it all comes down to the individual. And like when it comes to like I know some people don't like bat flips. I don't give a fuck about that. If you hit a
Yeah,
450-foot bomb off me, bat flip the fuck out of it. But just know
dude.
if I strike you out next time,
That,
I'm
dude,
staring your ass down.
absolute
I'm yelling in your
hell
face.
yeah, man. Dude, that's a beauty of it, right? You can do both, and if you're gonna be able to like do it, like you better be able to like handle it too. If you're gonna dish it
Yeah,
out, you gotta
exactly.
handle it, and that's the way I see it. If a hitter hits a tank off me, like you bat flip, that's fine, but I'm gonna take that to heart. Of course, I'm gonna make it personal because that makes me good. So
Yeah.
next time I face you, I'm gonna remember that. If I K
Yeah.
you, I'll be fucking giving you one of these, like on the mound. Like I don't give a fuck.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, man. And I love what you said too about like in the cage because I remember seeing this. I don't know how much into like MMA you are, but there's this one guy called like the Style Bender, and he's in
Mm.
this fight with another guy, and it is like almost like to the death, and you can see him read his lips, and he goes like, "You're not gonna beat me. I'm prepared to die."
Yep,
And bro, that fired me the every time I watch it, fires me
dude.
the fuck
And
up.
absolutely, and you
That's
need
how
to
it should
compete
be.
like that. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're gonna compete at a high level, man, you gotta have that. If you want to get the most out of yourself, you gotta have that. You guys, I'm sure, like even the people listening, I'm sure you've seen me rip smelling salts and go full send on a workout or whatever, right? I don't do it just for show, Like, yeah, I do it to get me in a mental stage, like I'm a killer now, right? And I
Mhm.
just go full send, whether I'm squatting, deadlifting, or whatever the fuck else. It could be throwing, whatever. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna give it like my 110%, right? So that's an attitude I think some people are missing when they're competing. They kind of like they're soft, and I think they need to change that. And that's why like I've met players that are like they got better stuff than I do, whether they got better, they throw harder or whatever, but they can't compete, right? So yeah, you throw 98, 90, that's great. But when you
Mhm.
go in the mountain and you fucking walk the house because you're a bitch, I mean that's you're soft. You're wasting your talent, right? And I'm not gonna do that because I'm gonna make the most of myself. Doesn't matter who the fuck you are. I could be facing a 12-year-old. I'm full sending. I don't
Mhm.
give a fuck. So, and I think some people just are missing on the competing side of things. How to
Mhm.
compete? Like people are like pretty like fond of I'm throwing this hard. I'm hitting this hard or whatever. But yeah, but you hit buck 20 last year. Like or you put up a 80 RA. You throw 97. Okay. So you walked a bunch of guys because you don't know how to throw strikes. When you get on the mound, you fucking piss your pants, and whenever guys come up, you get yipped up. Whatever the fuck it is, like you don't know how to compete, right? So, and if you need to train yourself to be that mental stage when you're training, so that you can do it in a game instead of like being all fucking soft when you're training or whatever. Get in the game, you're a bitch. Like, that's not how it works.
No, I totally get it, and I think it's important for us to go through like those dips in our confidence so that
Yep.
we know we can get through them. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was a freshman in college, I had the yips, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to quit baseball. I fucking
Yep.
hated it. But
Yep.
now looking back on it, I know for a fact no matter what I go through, I can get out of it because
Yep.
I got through that. I went like I can get through anything.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So another quick question, just out of curiosity, because I know it's in headlines. Where do you think Aaron Judge ends up next year? Do you have any ideas?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I honestly don't know. I
Rumor
mean,
he could
probably
be on
not the
the
Yankees.
Giants.
Yeah, probably not the. I heard the Giants are gonna. Yeah, I heard that too. Like, what is he? Farron said. Oh, sorry. Can you hear that? My bad. Um, yeah. So I heard like he said he's gonna go for no matter whatever it takes or something like that, right? Whatever money it takes, they're gonna go after him. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be very interesting to find out. But I mean, guy like that, I mean, he can go any
He's
team could be very welcoming, very very
yeah.
welcoming. He's gonna get paid a lot of money.
Mhm.
Guy produces, right? Guy's good, and I actually got to play against Aaron Judge in low way,
Did you?
and he was a beast. I mean, size wise, I remember looking at him because it was a day game. They were
Yeah.
warming up right next to it. Day game they don't really take BP or whatever, so like they're
Mhm.
just like warming up next to it. They're gonna play catching, show and go or whatever. And I remember warming up, I'm like, who the fuck? Because he just got drafted or whatever, like the year. And everyone's like, Aaron Judge. I'm like, whatever. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Shows up. He's a fucking monster. He's literally
Yeah, it's
literal
huge.
monster. And I'm a big guy. I'm six
Yeah.
two. At the time when I was playing, I was 240. I'm a
Mhm.
strong dude, even
Yeah.
compared to minor leaguers, right? And I'm just like, I look at him like, what the fuck are you doing here, man? Just like go play
Yeah.
football, bro. Like what the fuck? And
He's
he didn't
insane.
like rake or anything like that. He like I don't even know what I hit. Like I don't think he hit like that many jacks or anything like that. But because he didn't have a leg kick, he had like a toe tap. I remember I'm like, what the fuck is that? What is he doing? Like
Hmm.
he should hit a ball like 500 foot, not a fucking jam job singles or whatever, you know. But I mean, dude, it's crazy what kind of hitter he's become, and he's
Yeah,
the most dangerous hitter in the big leagues right now, which is
for
crazy.
sure, for sure. Absolutely. And speaking of guys that can hit like that, I wanted to ask you this the last time we were together, but I honestly I just didn't get to. What do you think about like steroid records, like Barry Bonds 73 homers? Do you think steroid records should count?
So I don't know if it should count as a on its own or whatever. But for me, I think Barry Bonds should be a Hall of Famer
Oh,
because
100%,
Barry
bro.
Bonds played in the steroid era. Literally everyone else is taking it. Like so, my example was so right now every player takes creatine, right? Everyone takes creatine. Let's say MLB bans it, right? But they do a horse shit job of kind of like overseeing it, right? So
Hmm.
the whole entire league continues doing creatine, right? And
Hmm.
then this new report comes out, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, everyone's doing creatine or
Yeah.
whatever." Now, if everyone did creatine, right, 100 players or 1,000 players or whatever, and there's just one person that just destroyed everybody,
Yeah.
and everyone else is on it, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter. That guy's a goat. That
Yeah.
that that guy that guy he's different. That
That's a
guy should
really good
be
way of putting it. I never
that
thought
that
of it.
guy whatever he deserves it because he competed with everyone else that was doing
Hmm.
it, and he was still the best. He's the goat. So
Yeah.
what? Just because he did steroids, yeah, everyone else did steroids. Look,
Yeah.
it's literally called the fucking steroid era for a reason, right? So, and I'm not saying do steroids. You can't do that. It's illegal. If you do
Yeah.
that, now you're just like Tatis, right? He got popped a little
Hmm.
bit, and that kind of you can't do that now. You just can't do that.
Hmm.
But back then, literally everyone did it. Just like the 60s, they were all on fucking drugs. They were doing cocaine and shit like that. They did. There are little articles written about that. They were all on
Hmm.
speed or whatever, LSD when they're playing. Now they're not legal, but I mean that's how they play. They did a bunch of blow to get going or whatever. That's how they did it, right? So
Hmm.
if that did that, and so then should all their numbers to discount as well? Like there's like a whole gray area that
Totally
comes into
makes
play.
sense. And it goes back to what you were saying about competing too. Like you can have the best shit in the world, but if you can't throw it over the plate,
Barry
you're
Bonds, yeah.
done. He
Barry
had
Bonds was intentionally walked like 120 times. I believe one year he walked 250 times and he K'd like 30 or 40 times.
yeah,
Now,
it's
it
crazy.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Dude, you can give me the strongest fucking steroids in the world.
Yeah.
There's no way I can do that. You know what I'm
Uh
saying? Like
huh.
that's not just steroids. That made like he's a hitter. He was just so
Hmm.
fucking dangerous that they were so scared to throw to him. And not just because he was hitting tanks or whatever. It just as a
Yeah.
hitter. And he had a really good plate discipline. He had probably the
Hmm.
best plate discipline of anybody in the league. I mean, if you look at his total numbers, he walked more than he struck out, which is fucking
Hmm.
insane by a long margin, right? So
Hmm.
again, what all the numbers, if you look at it, it's just
Yeah.
what he's done is incredible. And I think it's just shame that MLB is kind of like using that as a scapegoat. Oh, we're not gonna put him in a Hall of Fame or whatever. I'm like, fuck you. Like you
Yeah.
benefited from the steroid era. You
Mhm.
baseball was survived from steroid era, and you're gonna dump these guys like that. That's fucked up.
Yeah, 100%. He still has to hit all like 756 of those
Yep,
homers. He's still one of the
yep,
best hitters of all time. And
yep,
it's actually fun. You want to hear a crazy stat? So that year that you're talking about, where Barry Bonds got walked 200
yep,
and whatever times. So Pete Rose, obviously
yep,
the has the most hits in history.
yep.
That year, he walked more than Pete Rose ever had hits in a single season. How
That's
fucking insane
incredible.
is that?
That's and people don't
I mean,
understand. People don't understand. Like, of course, homers are crazy impressive,
yeah.
but dude, like the walks, dude. Like
Hmm.
that tells
Yeah.
you a hitter. If you watch all and look at like Sosa and McGuire, all them guys are on steroids as well. Dude, look at their numbers. They struck out way more than they walk. You know what I'm saying? Like no
Hmm.
one could hit, no one could be the presence like the way Barry Bonds was at the plate. That's why
Hmm.
I think he still deserves to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, 100%. I have a coach that played with him in the Red Sox organization, and he said that one time he heard like during spring training or something, he just heard like wow, wow.
Yep,
He goes into the cage, and it's Barry Bonds
yep,
hitting one handed
Yep.
halfway up towards the pitching machine.
I literally still tell that story to this day. I've told the exact same story that I heard. I heard mine from a trainer
Yeah.
that's been there for like 30 years or whatever. So he's been
Mm.
there for a long time. He told me that, older guy, it's like with all he's got
Yeah.
all these crazy stories. I remember he telling me that because they thought it was like a gunshot going off or something, and they had to go check. And then it was literally Barry hitting off because I played in that spring training complex, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's like a cage area right by the
Mhm.
main field and like a side field. There's like a cage area where everyone hits, and within it, I hit in that cage as well because I got called up a couple times to big league camp or whatever during spring training.
Mhm.
It's like iron mics are set up, right? So
Yeah.
big iron mics are set up with like 1,000 balls in there each. And I remember hearing Barry Bonds was hitting in that cage with what single arm top hand, and he was hitting and the dude the iron mic throws firm, like I think
Yeah.
it's set to like nine. It's like
Yes.
90 plus. It's 90 plus set
And
up.
it's got
He
like
was
that ride too.
It's got right. It's tough. It's very, very tough to hit, even like
Yeah.
regular hitting. And he was.
Hmm.
I remember him telling me he was 2/3 way up with top hand, just smashing baseballs, making gunshot sounds by himself. It's just like
Yeah.
just doing that. It's just
Did
incredible.
you did you ever hear about his house?
No.
So at his house, he has a pitching machine, or he has a batting cage, obviously,
Yeah,
but he has a pitching machine, and he would put it 90 feet away on 110 miles an hour and have
that is so.
strobe lights.
That is tight,
Strobe lights
dude.
in the background, bro, and
That's
hit on
so
it.
sick. That is sick. That's very
That's
Barry Bonds like.
yeah. So speaking of we were saying like the game's always evolving and stuff like that. There's been a lot of new rules that have kind of been like kind of implemented or like kind of like people have like brought them to like the league's attention and stuff like that. So I want to know what you think of some of these rules. So the first one was when we met first time last year. I was in the fall league and we had the
Yep.
pitch clock. What do you think of the pitch clock?
I'm not a fan at all. I think I think that's a dangerous game we're playing, especially with a soaring a rate of injuries, especially for pitchers. Right? You guys see it. Everyone talks about TJ and how many pitchers are getting TJ and shit like that. And by giving him less time to recover, it's obviously going to affect that number. And
Yeah.
pitchers going to. And pitching is such a dynamic movement for such short period of time, but
Mhm.
it's 100% effort. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're not throwing 50%. You're
You're
throwing
not
full
fucking
send,
around out
especially
there. You're letting
especially
that
especially
speed.
especially at a pro level. You've seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done that. It's just like if you give these guys less time to recover, just like when I'm squatting, right? If I'm squatting here, if I had 20-second break instead of a minute break, the way I'm competing is totally different. The
Yeah.
way I recover is going to be totally different. Now, if I do 3 reps of 20-second break, and if I
Mhm.
do same 3 reps with a minute break, I'm going to recover a hell of a lot less than when I'm
Oh,
doing 20
absolutely.
seconds, and I'm going to be beat the fuck up after. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why that's why I'm against it because I think we should protect the pitchers, especially the arms. And I'm a pitcher myself, and
Mhm.
I never took too long. I've seen pitchers that took way too long, and I get that. I think that's not a good thing to have. Some pitchers just like lollygag and fucking do all their
Mhm.
fucking bullshit routines to throw
Yeah.
one pitch. I'm like, just go and fucking throw. But you should still get enough recovery time so that you're not rushed to pitch or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm against it totally.
Yeah, I agree. But for a different reason. I didn't hear that. I haven't heard that before, but that is interesting. The reason I hate it is because it destroys the suspense of the game. Now, I
Mm,
understand in like regular season games, we kind of want it to go a little faster. We got a long season. But like you look at games like this, like the Phillies, just playoff baseball in general.
absolutely.
Guys
Yeah,
are dying to win. The suspense of just every pitch, something could change. It's so important that it keeps you like glued. And if we're trying to
absolutely.
speed that up, it destroys like the suspense of it. Destroys the interest you have in like perfect example was when Altuve hit that homer off of Aroldis Chapman a couple of
Yep.
years ago.
Yep.
I remember watching that game, and I remember there being like at least like a minute in between pitches, and I was sitting
Yeah.
there glued to the TV.
Right.
That, and we got to throw the next pitch in 30 seconds. That's not fun.
Right. Yeah, and then again, at the end of the day, I don't think the length of the game is a problem of getting less views or whatever in
Mhm.
baseball. I think it's more so to deal with. MLB has done a pretty shitty job of marketing their players, marketing the teams, marketing, just making baseball more fun, more
Yeah.
events, more. just like if you look at NBA, NFL, I mean they do crazy shit, Like if you
Yeah.
look at NFL halftime, like look they do some crazy fun shit. NBA, you look at it like you do the fucking the slam dunk contest, whatever the fuck it is, it's just fucking incredible events that they throw out so that people are
Mhm.
very engaged and they do a good job of keeping their audience. But MLB, I don't think is good at that at all. MLB, if
Yeah.
anything, loses it, especially with the youth. So I think they should just be better at marketing their players, and promoting the game instead of having these fucking 50-year-old men that are announcing these games that are just salty as fuck. Maybe put in some I don't know, some entertaining
Mhm.
people that knows what they're doing, and
Yeah.
get and can get the youth to I like listening to these guys instead of hearing some old motherfucker just bitching about the game. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, no 12-year-old's gonna stay into that, right?
Yeah.
Why would you stay watching that game? Like, fuck you. I don't want this
Mhm.
bullshit. So
No, you're 100% right. And like going back to like NFL, like NFL have different. They have like former players, even
yep,
some current players that commentate. Like I
yep,
feel like that'd be so cool to have. Like say you and Trevor commentated a game. That would be the most
absolutely,
fun game to listen to ever.
absolutely, yep, yep.
Also, you guys know like about the game. You're entertaining, and you also know so much about the game.
Right, and again, we can just do so much compared to
Yeah.
what we're doing now. We're doing very, very little in terms of
Mhm.
any kind of having fun.
Yeah.
And I think it just league just needs to change that old mindset of like, hey, like we gotta adapt now. We gotta get the young people to come in or whatever. Get a bunch of creators, whatever the fuck you can do. Do
Yeah.
that.
That was a big reason why I was like asking about what you thought about like the bat flips because I hate people that are just like that old school type. It needs to be
Yeah,
all business. Like look at guys like Acuna. That you can tell like guys like Acuna, guys like Tim Anderson, stuff like that. They
yep.
all have fun out there and they're
hmm
passionate about the game.
And that's why kids like them. That's why
Hmm.
people like them, right? I
Yeah,
mean, if you look at kids, I mean, who do they like? Like Tatis and all them guys, like younger guys that are like play with passion, play with energy, play with swagger, right? Look at
yeah,
Jazz Chisholm, like people love him, I mean, kids,
hmm
especially kids love him. Why? Because he plays with fucking attitude and he's fucking very
yeah,
DGAF, pops the fucking chain, hits
yeah.
tanks, like fucking balls out. That's why they like him, right? So instead of having these fucking jabronis just bitching about the game, hey, just have fun with the game, and let the players be themselves, and the game's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Now, another very controversial rule that's being like thrown around is the automated strike zone. What do you think of that?
Uh, I don't think that is the answer. I think the umpiring is pretty trash in the big leagues.
Yeah.
But I think there are other ways to fix it.
Hmm.
So I think if anything, they should have a system set up just like in the minors and for baseball, for players, so that if you suck at your job, you get released. You get fired.
Yeah.
Like they should do that instead of fucking guys like Angel Hernandez fucking umpiring for 25 fucking years or whatever. Guys like that
Yeah.
need to be gone. Need to be gone early. And guys like Pat Holberg recently just threw a called a perfect game in the World Series. Motherfuckers like that needs to get paid a lot more,
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
need to get more guys like that. So there's competition within it, that's gonna make it better. And of course, if your food's on the line, you gotta need to perform. And there's pressure
Hmm.
on you now, right? Instead of like, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I'm gonna do this another 20 years.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter how old I am, and
Yeah.
whatever. It's just not how it works. So I think if we change the system for developing umpires, I think that's gonna be vastly different than what it is. I personally don't think animated.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think my this just died, but
Oh,
yeah,
no worries.
yeah.
So, no, no, back to
back
what
to
you're
what
saying
you're
about
saying about
umpires.
umpires.
I agree
I
with
agree with
that.
that.
The one
The
thing I
one thing
was
I was
worried
worried
as
about
well
is
um, with the
with the
automated
automated
strike
strike
zone,
zone,
it kind of
it kind of
destroyed
destroyed
the art of
Yep, yep, I agree with that. I agree with that. And also, when it was implemented in like analytics and stuff like that, I've seen some videos. Some
catching.
pitches just they don't look like a strike because catcher like catches it weird or whatever, and it's still a strike because it just like crossed it or whatever. And again, that part is just like when you look at a pitch and catcher catches like shit. I mean, that shouldn't be a strike. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
again, I think that's the art of catching, art of the entire just pitching and catching baseball in general, right? So. I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't think that is the answer. I think the answer is to make the umpires just be better at their jobs, by implementing these systems so that they do their fucking jobs.
100%, man.
Now,
What about the
challenging?
call?
What do you think?
What do you think of that?
I'm fine with that. I'm not against that. I think, again, people are gonna make mistakes. That's fine, but hopefully umpires make less mistakes or not. But challenging calls, challenging your strike zone, I think that's fine. I think I have no issues with that. No, but my issue with is, like, if we're trying to speed up the game, that's only gonna slow it down. So what are we trying to do? So if MLB's been all white, like, speed up the game. This is not gonna speed up at all. So what are we fucking doing? You know? So I don't even think MLB knows what they want to do in terms of changing the game. I think they're trying to try a bunch of shit out just to please some people or whatever. But I mean, I don't know if that's a way to go about that, because if you want to do that, then it's not gonna be baseball one day. It's gonna be totally something else that we'll be playing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Let's talk about brand a little bit. I mean,
you've been
going for a long time. It's really awesome you've grown. What is some of your favorite content that you produce?
I mean, I like all my content. You know, I have fun doing it. I love my job. Being a YouTuber is great. We have a really good team here. I mean, I'm living the dream right now. But I mean, any content I'm linking up with other people, it's always fun. Like, I recently crashed a home run derby for Easton that threw out. Easton asked me to come out for their little fall home run derby thing they put out, and I went there. Just amazing experience, meeting all these kids and stuff like that. And kids go crazy when I show up because they see my content, which is, like, really cool to see, and that kind of stuff. You know, even when I saw you at the facility, right? It was fun. It was always fun to be in that situation with, like, other people, because in here, I mean, we're only, like, doing our content with, like, our coworkers and shit like that. It's always fun when I'm, like, linking on with, like, other people, other players or whatever. So, but I mean, yeah, I enjoy my job, man. It's fucking great.
Do you have a
specific video
that
you had like
an absolute
blast making?
Honestly, I have a blast on all of my videos. I'm not.
As you should.
It's crazy. It's crazy to say. Even, like, my recent video, I fucking put on a Halloween costume, fucking full send throwing. My arm hurt like a motherfucker, but I had a great time. You know, it's just like, I do a lot of dumb shit, but I mean, when I do dumb shit, it's really fun, and people tend to enjoy it.
People love it.
It gets me going. Like, I mean, for me though, that's not the reason I do it. I do these because I love what I'm doing. Even if people hated it or I only had 10 fans or whatever, I'm still gonna do it. But it's just cool to see, like, a lot of people like it. I get lots of views on YouTube and stuff like that, which is great. But yeah, man, I truly enjoy doing everything that I'm doing, which is awesome to say. I mean, not many people can say that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think my favorite
was
Pull Down.
That's legendary.
That was legendary. That shit hurt.
Bad.
Do you have
anything interesting
or
that you would want the fans to know?
No, I mean, just fuck, I'm having a lot of fun doing what I'm doing. We're trying to even get bigger, better. You know, our momentum. Check our momentum YouTube out. Check my YouTube channel out. I know we got a lot of fun things planned. And for nowadays though, right? I mean, that's a thing. Like, I get recognized now more than probably some other, like, baseball players, pro guys or whatever, just because content is how you communicate with and grab the audience attention and you know, do that rather so than just, you know, oh, like, I play baseball, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool for the world. It's a different world now. Like, these influencers slash whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of fucking impact that we have on youth or whatever. Most of my fans are youth, which is crazy because I motherfuck everybody, you know, like, and then kids, like, love it. I don't know why. And, like, so all these, like, 12, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, when I go to random places, we just went to go shoot at some, like, really random store, like, because we're trying to make homemade baseballs. So we went to some random store to pick up, like, these, like, you know, like, artsy things or whatever, and the kids were like, King of Juco, like, let's take a picture.
That's awesome.
It's, like, crazy. It's like you should not know. No one should know who I am here. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy how big it's getting. It's really fun. But I mean, at the end of the day, I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and that's all that matters. And we got some exciting things planned, so stay tuned.
That's great,
That's
man.
great, man.
Now
Now
we're gonna wrap it up. But before I got a quick thing for you. So
Okay.
it's a pitch
pitch
rep
game.
Okay.
So we're
So we're going to
both
both pick
pitches
pitches
out of
out of
anybody,
anybody in the
Okay.
and we'll see
We'll
what
see what the
audience.
audience.
Okay.
All right,
You go first.
Like the best pitch you said, right?
Like
Like
pitch
pitch from any pitcher.
Okay. DeGrom's fastball.
DeGrom's fastball.
Fastball.
I'm gonna go with
Ryan.
Okay. Okay. I'll do. I mean, Aaron Nola's curveball is nasty, so I'm gonna go with that.
Mm-hmm. I like that pick.
Mhm.
A lot. I'm gonna have to
I'm
go
gonna have
with
to go with
I'll take the
Jacob slider.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do a Chapman splitter.
Oof. We actually
played the previous having,
Dude,
and one of the hitters said
it looks like
falling out like 10 feet from you.
yeah, because he's so big.
insane. All right,
I'll finish off with a Sandy Alcantara changeup.
Fucking disgusting. He's gonna be that Cy Young winner. It's just so gross.
I hope so,
man. He deserves it.
Yep.
All right.
So I gotta say thank you so much for being on here. Mind leaving us with a mantra that you live by.
I'll say it one more time. I cut off.
A
mantra that you live by.
I mean, hey, live big, throw gas, hit fucking bombs,
Yes,
baby.
sir.
That's what I live by. Let's
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it greatly.
And for all you listening,
I hope you enjoyed.
Boom. We good?